All right, the tester, the 5 beds, trying to save seeds, trying to see what nature is going to give to us this side. There's some stuff growing, and for you that have been following me, will know the mayhem that the cows and the geese have created here. Um, I definitely have a couple of pea plants pulling through, but I will be using their seeds to resow and to get a proper pea harvest in springtime. Over here, over there, I've got some Swiss chard. All right, we've got some Swiss chard going there. We've got some wild rocket coming up through, but it's not doing so well. One dill, one lettuce. Oh, cool. So that's some sweet rocket coming through there. All right, I've got some Chinese cabbages that I don't think is going to make it. If I look at the onslaught with the pest that is eating the leaves, they're not going to make it. I'm definitely going to be needing to protect the vegetables in this area. My biggest onslaught number, well, first things first, this is the 5 beds, and the compost for this 5 beds I got from this farm that I'm on. There isn't anything else left, but even this is not that great material to work with. Hence all the compost that I'm busy building. All right. The other threat is cows. Okay, so the cows could just bulldoze in and take what they want. So my solution for the cows thus far is one electrical wire that runs around the perimeter of the vegetable garden, and that should keep them out. That's the one thing. Then it's geese. What I was thinking is just to cover them with hoops and insect netting, and then take it from there. When they grow into the insect netting, I'll just take that off, or I can use bird netting or whatever the case might be. But getting back to insect netting, there's a lot of grasshoppers here, and they are, I had some cow lima beans that I sowed at another spot, that they just don't stand a chance. My strawberries got chowed. These Chinese cabbages are getting eaten. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need to use netting for insects, and the same netting that I use for insects will be the netting I'm going to use to keep the birds off. As for poisons, I'm going to keep myself reserved on what my verdict is. I've only been here for 5 months. So once we've done a full cycle of a whole year, then I'll see if there's any poisons that I should be concerned about. Oh yeah, and then the cold. We're right next to a river here, so the frost is a reality. So this bed, I've just taken out all the weeds. It is a no dig bed, okay, and it's supposed to have no weeds. This is the compost. The compost had all these seeds in it, so I let it be and let the seeds sprout and let them get to do what they need to do for the last 2-3 months. And I just got in now, and I just pulled it out, shook the soil off of the roots, and threw them into this bin over here. You can see it. All right, and I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be putting anything into this bed. I've got some perennials that I'd like to put in. I've still got some mint that I need to get into some pot somewhere, because I don't want to put them into the soil, because they're going to bully all the other vegetables. But we'll get to it. We'll see how we're going to do that still. All right, but I have been neglecting this because it has been taking a lot of beating, but it has been teaching me. I have been watching it and seeing what's happening. The only challenge, as per usual, and I said it when I started this trial vegetable garden, is the perennial grasses that are coming through. All the other weeds underneath the cardboard has been suffocated. So don't want to speak too early, but I'm probably gonna just rake this flat eventually once I've got all the other composts ready. and then I'll just put cardboard all over it again and start it afresh. At least I know the soil or the material underneath, excuse me. At least I know the material underneath is of reasonable quality. Yeah. So that's an update on what's happening on this vegetable patch of ours. Right, back to the vegetables. I put some water out here, and these beds are so dry because I haven't been paying attention to this vegetable patch. I've just been leaving it to itself. That I'm going to need to put some more water down onto it. Unfortunately, we have load shedding going, and the water pressure is down. So as soon as that's over, I'm bringing the irrigation back, and I'm putting it back on here. I've raked this bed now, and I'll be planting some lavender and thyme into it, the ones that are still surviving. And I'm not planting onions into it. These are onions, as you can see, nice and tall onions. The reason why I'm not planting these onions in here, because they have been rooting through this. I believe they have. I think they have been rooting through this tray into the soil. But I've just pulled this one out that had a tomato seedling come up with it, and it didn't look like. No, it's stuck solid. Look at it. It's not it's not coming off. I've had this happen to me before. At my previous place, the onions grew into the wood chips. I had them underneath a tree on some wood chips, preparing a bed for them. A couple of weeks went past, and then I picked them up, and they were just had wood chips stuck to the bottom of them as their roots grew into the wood chips. So I'm going to leave them here. This is not a garden to brag about. This is a garden to test, to let things go wrong and see what happens when they do go wrong. I think in the meantime, I'm going to get the lavender and the rosemary ready that I want to plant in here and try and save. And as soon as the water's back on, I'll get some irrigation going onto them. Lucian and I just got the horrible news that this is a actual drukgang, I don't know what you call it, a pressure passageway where they lead the cattle into to load them onto trailers. The owner has sold one of his bulls to the abattoir, and he wants to load him next week. So we were saving these prunings from the limes to make wood chips. We were hoping to get some other form of a wood chipper on the in the over the next couple of months, so that we could chip this all away. But now we need to move it down to the burning pit, which is right there at the bottom. Double work. Sorry, man. And how do you feel about that double work that we've got to do now?
Awful.
Oh, me too. Me too. Oh, dude, don't do that. So the geese got in again. So I put this little fence up here at the bottom in the hope that I'll keep them out. It's just some steel droppers and some of that all well-known barrier netting. I've also transplanted the lavender and the rosemary down this bed. I still have to take out the weeds of this bed. You can also see how much damage the geese did. The plants were all supposed to be about that size, and they're all looking like this now. Even my mustard greens have taken a bit of a beating, but I see they're not into Swiss chard. the bottom bed, the first one right there at the bottom, I'm going to be filling up with lettuces, and every gap I've got in between I'll be filling up with lettuces, and see if I can get a little bit of a market going on lettuces just to generate some cash flow. But the big thing today is to get these walkways filled up. You know, this is still the cardboard that I put in months ago, but the grass is actually coming through here. The couch grasses are coming through. So what I'll be doing is I'll be using some of the cardboard that I was using in the compost process that didn't quite break down yet. I'm going to put them in the walkways, and I'm just going to put some leaves on top, and every step I'll be putting down water, so it just gets all, you know, soaky and lays down flat, you know. So I'll first be putting out some water on the old cardboard, putting in the used cardboard, and putting more water, and then putting the dry leaves and putting more water. The other walkways, if you haven't seen, I've used macadamia husk for that, but I can't find any more on the farm that is available for me to use, so I'll be using dried leaves for walkways. This is a good example of what is happening. As you can see, the couch grass is coming through because I didn't put anything down here to force oxygen and air, reduce the oxygen and air that the grass is getting. This is the markers of my walkways, so they are 30 centimeters apart, and so I'll just be putting in new cardboard and putting in leaves on top and just keeping everything wet, and that should soak it up. If it doesn't, then we'll do something else next time. And little bit by little bit we'll beat all these perennial weeds as well. Just in case you were wondering what it looked like, these are the used cardboard boxes. They're looking worse for wear, and those are the dried leaves. Luckily there's lots of them available here, and that is it. You know, use what you've got. Let's see, I come, baby. Let's go on top. This is what a Wednesday consists of. Yes, see, I come. Let's go. Are you a cow? Why are you all inside there? Eh? It's consisting of smiles. That's what it is. So how much cardboard does one man need to build a farm? 2 rolls. So this is where we get the cardboard that we put underneath the compost and underneath the walkways. It is waste for certain box manufacturers, and these spools we pick up and remove, and I use this in my compost production. I use this when I lay out my butchering area where I butcher the birds when they graduate, and then I put this at the bottom of all my beds and walkways to smother out weeds. So it's a very handy tool to have. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's economic, it is ideal to start a no-dig garden and a healthy farm. Okay, I just got back from Nelspruit. Got all these rolls of paper. We got the compost bin materials here, the old pallets. You can see they're old and weary and grey and tired. So we're going to build another 2 bins with this, if Christopher doesn't destroy all the wood to make firewood with it. And then I'm thinking we must start focusing on building a new brooder and getting the old brooder out of the washing room and get that bedding into the compost. That has been 4 months now, so we can start making decent compost with it. 1, 2, go! Thank you, Christopher. Okay, you can go put the wheelbarrow back over there. Stop, Christopher. Take the wheelbarrow, put it back over there. Thank you, dude. High five. Love you, man. All right, back home. Just want to say thank you to Uncle Mike from Deltec Automotive for letting me use his pickup, his Bucky. And I've got some rolls home already. And my father-in-law for his trailer. I want to say thank you for that. Just going to offload all of this and then return the Bucky and park the trailer. All right, just a quick update. That's a borrowed car because they stole my wife and ours only car last night. They broke into our house, took the keys, stole the car, stole the tires off of the trailer as well, stole our family that is visiting here's cell phone, stole the boy's laptop. So well, that's what happened. So luckily from our church, one of the young men and his father decided to help us out with a car for the meantime. Fantastic. Then I went to go fetch the birds. Got 120 this time around. And they're all here. They have arrived. Look at that. Look at that. So I'm going to get them into that brooder over there and raise them. Alright, so this is what it looks like. 120 birds. The most birds I've ever had. Today I'm cheating a bit. I'm putting on lettuces from the nursery across the street here. I'll be putting it into this first bed. There is some garlic in here, so I'll be planting it in between the garlic, and there's some herbs over there. I'll just be planting all over it, and then that will grow in between. It's fine. And I'll put in 200 lettuces. That's one bed, one tray in here. Then I'll find some space here in between, and over there at the sprinkler side there's plenty of space over there from there on. And the second tray will probably end up halfway in between this bed and that bed. And then in about 6 weeks time I'll be able to market these lettuces with my chickens and my limes, and adding a third line of produce to the product that I already market. I want to start singing Wild Thing, you make my heart sing. I'm so happy to look at these lettuces in here. It just makes me so happy. Woohoo! So we're going to go into this bed. I've got a cauliflower over there and a cauliflower over there that survives, and I've got some Swiss chards over there. So they'll just be going in between them. Yeah, and there's some, I'm not sure what those are. I'll have to check. Maybe they're cabbages. Those ones over there. I still have to clean up that bed. This bed is cleaned and prepped, so I'm just going to take my dibbler here. I've got a multi-tip dibbler, which I've manufactured myself, and I'm going to mark out the spots where I need to plant the rest of the lettuces. I've almost finished the first tray. I'm going to finish it now, and then I'll start with the second tray. So obviously the second tray will be most of this bed and then the rest of that bed. Man, this makes my heart sing. What a sight. Beautiful. Okay, I've planted them. We've had a nice hot winter's day here in Africa. Put a bit of water on them just to give them an opportunity, just to recover the transport plant shock. And I will be putting some of this orange and yellow shade cloth over the top just to keep the bugs off. And yeah, now it's just sit back and wait. Woo, I'm so excited. And then in about 2 weeks time I'll get another 2 trays, and I'll fill up this bed here, and I'll fill up that bed at the back there with the thyme and the lavender and the spring onions that have now grown into the soil over there that is in the tray. And there at the back there's peas and spring onions and some squash, I don't know which one, and some more peas, and there's actual tomato plant there as well, and there's a lavender plant. And this side there's a rosemary plant as well. So yeah, whatever goes in this garden. This is my small garden, so whatever grows, and if it doesn't, I just replace it with something else. Fantastic, huh? And then I want to put some leaves into the walkway there, like I did over here, which makes it much better. And just cover that cardboard box and make sure there's no grasses growing there, and then just give it a bit of a weed again. But the weeds are small and they're under control. but it's still winter. If you lose control of the weeds in the winter in Africa, you ain't gonna make it through summer, that's for sure. I was under the impression I was just gonna drape these shade cloths of mine over loosely, but I changed my mind. As I've got varieties, and I've got like the Swiss chard there in the middle that's already reasonably large already, just to give them some fair space. I've put in these wire hoops. It's just a standard, I think 3mm or thinner wire, a big roll that I buy, and I cut off 3/4 of a circle on the roll, and I just stick the two ends nice and deep into the soil, and then I just stretch this over the top and pin it down with some pegs that I've made. This is still the pegs from my last place. It's probably about 8 inches long, and I just twist the tip, and I just stick it through into the soil. I do it this way because the soil gets really loose after like a year or two, and then you need something that can go in deep into the soil to hold on, especially if there's winds that's blowing and so forth. So if you make wire pegs for yourself, just make them long enough. Yeah, that would be 8 inches is 20 centimeters or 200 millimeters. Yeah, if not longer. And then I'll show you now what it looks like when it's done. It's the following day. I got these two covered, and I was concerned. That I'm not covering them properly here on the side, and with the pressure of the locusts over here, and the grasshoppers and the crickets and so forth, and the moths, I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I should take out one of those 3-meter width shade cloths I've got, and then just cover these 3 beds with it. It's looking fantastic. I think this was one of the better ideas. You can actually still see the plants underneath, where there you have to really look carefully in to know what you're looking at. And this is much better. It's going to keep insects out, and it is going to let the sunlight in. Fantastic idea. And you know who gave me this idea? Who else than Charles Dowding. Okay, this job is done. The lettuces, the Swiss chards, the cauliflowers, the herbs all have a cover on, and I'm going to sleep much better with this cover on. I'm also filling up these walkways. This one hasn't been filled yet, but with some autumn leaves or winter leaves, as you can see over here, and just to put carbon down on the floor and to suppress any weeds wanting to grow in the walkways.